Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Civics second year class. Today we will discuss your third chapter, Union Government. If you see the weightage, you will get one LAQ. Sorry. You will get one LAQ for 10 marks. Then you will get one SAQ from this chapter and two VSAQs. Okay, one LAQ, 10 marks, one SAQ, 5 marks, and two VSAQs for 4 marks. So the total weightage for this chapter is 19 marks. So if you remember at the beginning itself, I showed you, if you are learning chapter 1, 2, 3, chapter 1 has got weightage of 19 marks. Chapter 2 has weightage of 12 marks. And chapter 3 again weightage of 9 marks. You will be able to answer 3 LAQs here. Okay, you have to answer 3, so you will be able to answer 3 LAQs, 30 marks directly. Okay, and along with this, if you are learning chapter 9, which has got weightage of 26 marks, you can easily get through your exams. Okay, passing or getting pass is very easy if you are thorough with at least this 4 chapters, chapter 1, 2, 3, 9. Okay, so today we will discuss your chapter 3. So what is your chapter 3? It is Union Government. See, when we say government, okay, when we say government, we know it has got 3 organs. So legislature, executive, and judiciary. These are the 3 organs of government. So in this chapter, you will be learning in detail about legislature, how it functions, what are its, types, bicameral, unicameral, what are its powers. That is, here you will study about Indian Parliament. Indian Parliament is the legislature of Union Government. Now coming to executive, you will study about powers and functions of President and Prime Minister. You will study about powers and functions of President and Prime Minister. Then you will also study about Supreme Court. So that part is judiciary. So in this chapter, you are learning about all the 3 organs of Union Government, that is central government. Okay, these are the important questions. Okay, the first question is powers and functions of President of India, then powers and functions of Prime Minister, powers and functions of Indian Parliament. Out of these 3 questions, 1 question is for sure. Coming to your short answers, you have Vice President, then you will study about Speaker of Lok Sabha, and you will study about the power of judicial review of Supreme Court. What is judicial review? What is the power of judicial review of Supreme Court? So again, if you see this Vice President, when we are saying it is a part of executive, Speaker of Lok Sabha is a part of Parliament, that is your legislature, and Supreme Court, it is judicial. So in this chapter, you will clearly study about all the 3 organs of Indian government. Coming to the coming to the very short questions. Here you will study about Electoral College. So while explaining you the President of India, I'll explain you about Electoral College. Then while discussing about the Parliament, we will come to know about different types of bills, money bill and ordinary bill. What are the differences between them? Then you will study about the Council of Ministers, the team of, Prime Minister. Then you will study about Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. These are the important VSAQs of this chapter. Out of this electoral college is most repeated question. So let us start with the powers and functions of president. See, the president is the constitutional head of the state. He is the nominal executive. In India, we have parliamentary form of government. In India, we have adapted parliamentary form of government where you have two executives. In parliamentary form of government, you will have two executives. So one is nominal executive and another is the real executive. So this nominal executive, he is the constitutional, according to the constitution, he is the constitutional head of the state. He is the constitutional head of the state, whereas real executive, he is the head of the government. There is a difference between these two. Constitutional head of the state means he is the first citizen of India, whereas head of the government, prime minister, he is just head of the government. So when we talk about the president, he is the nominal executive, he is the constitutional head of the government. It is his responsibility to protect or uphold the constitution. So this president, he performs two types of functions. President, he performs two types of functions, that is ordinary functions. Okay, he has got ordinary functions and he has got some emergency functions. Emergency functions. So he performs most of his functions. The president, he performs all his functions on advice of prime minister. Okay, he performs all his functions on advice of prime minister. So how is president appointed? What is the type of election? What is his tenure? Okay, the president is elected. The president is elected indirectly. So the people, they don't elect the president directly in India. In India, the president is elected indirectly by electoral college. Now, what is this electoral college? Electoral college, it consists of members of parliament, that is both the houses, elected members of parliament, MPs we say, members of legislative assemblies, all the states of all the states, MLAs of all states. MLAs of all states, elected members of all the states, members of parliament we say, that is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. When we say parliament, both the houses, then MLAs of all the states and members of legislative assembly of Delhi and Puducherry. Now, this Delhi and Puducherry, these are the union territories. These two are union territories. But still, they have their own government. They have their own assembly. So, the members of assembly of Delhi and Puducherry, members of assemblies of all the states, and members of parliament, that is both the house of parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, they elect the president. They elect the president. So all these together, members of parliament, members of legislative assemblies of all the states, and members of legislative assembly of Delhi and Puducherry. All together, they are called as electoral college. The president is elected indirectly by electoral college. Okay. I hope I'm clear with this, how president is elected. Okay, now, what is the tenure of president? President is elected for a period of 5 years. That is his tenure, and his official residence is Rashtrapati Bhavan. The present, who is the present president of India? Draupadi Murmu is the president of India. She is from a tribal community. Okay. Let us now discuss the ordinary powers of president. If you remember, yesterday we have discussed about governor, right? The powers of governor are similar to president. I told you yesterday also, the powers of governor is similar to that of president. So today, if you study the powers of president, you will get a clarity. Okay. So the first ordinary power of a president is executive power. Okay, executive power, it mainly deals with the appointments. Yesterday also, I told you the executive powers of governor, it deals with the appointments. So to whom does he appoint? Okay, the president of India, he appoints the prime minister. The leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha is appointed as the prime minister by the president. Appointing means what? He administers the oath of office. Then he also appoints the ministers of prime minister, that is council of ministers. The team of prime minister. Prime minister will advise the president and the president will appoint the council of ministers. Then yesterday we have discussed governors. I told you governors are not elected, they are appointed by the president. So president, he will appoint prime minister, council of ministers, governors of the states, Then he also appoints the chief justice and judges of Supreme Court and High Court. Okay, the judges, the chief justice and judges of Supreme Court and High Court are appointed by the president. Okay, before going in detail, who administers the oath of office to the president? How the president is appointed? Okay, elected, he is elected by the electoral college. But what about the oath of office? Who administers the oath of office? It is the Chief Justice of Supreme Court. The Chief Justice of Supreme Court, he administers the oath of office to the president. Okay. And president, he appoints the Chief Justice and judges of Supreme Court and High Court. And he also appoints the heads of various commissions like Election Commission, Finance Commission, Union Public Service Commission, okay, Human Rights Commission. So all the heads of various commissions, they are appointed by the president. He also appoints the vice chancellors of the central universities. Okay, the heads, the vice chancellors of the central universities are also appointed by the president. So under executive powers, the president, he does all the appointments. He is appointing all the executives. That is why we say it is his executive power. I hope I am clear with the executive powers. Now coming to the second one, that is legislative powers. Okay, legislative powers. Legislative, yesterday also I told you the word legislative, wherever you see this word legislature or legislative, it means something related to lawmaking. Okay, so Under legislative powers, we will discuss the role of president in lawmaking. Okay, what is his role in the legislature, in lawmaking? So, president is an integral, one of the part of parliament. See, when we say parliament, it consists of three things. That is president, Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Okay, all together is parliament. Okay. So, president is an integral part of the parliament. It is his responsibility to arrange the meetings. He arranges the meetings of both the houses of parliament and Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha, the lower house, it can be dissolved. The Lok Sabha can be dissolved. Who dissolves the Lok Sabha? On the advice of Prime Minister, President can dissolve the Lok Sabha. On the advice of Prime Minister, the President can dissolve the Lok Sabha. Okay, the Prime Minister and his team, that is Council of Ministers. Then coming to nominations. President, he nominates 12 members to the Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha, the 12 members of Rajya Sabha, they are nominated by the president. They are not elected. These 12 members, they are not elected by the people, okay, or by the members of Lok Sabha. They are appointed by the president. They are nominated by the president. They don't belong to any political party. They are the representatives of different fields. They are the experts in different fields. Okay, and a bill passed by the parliament, that is a bill passed by the parliament, that is by Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The president has to give his approval. The president has to sign on it. Then only that bill will become a law. Okay. The bill which is passed by the parliament has to be signed, has to be approved by the president. Then only it will be a law. It will be a law. Now, when parliament is not in session, we know parliament, it has 3 sessions: winter session, monsoon session, and budget session. Okay, if it is in February, March, we say it is budget session. Okay, then if it is in July, August, it is monsoon session. And if it is in November, December, it is winter session. So parliament, it meets thrice in a year, 3 times in a year for different sessions. So when parliament is not in session, okay, when parliament is not in session, an important law has to be passed. Then what? Then the president has the power to issue ordinances, or ordinance, we say. What is an ordinance? It is a temporary law made by the president. It did not get the, it did not pass from the parliament. So after parliament comes into session, this ordinance can be converted into law. So when parliament is not in session, then the president has power to issue ordinance. I hope I'm clear with this. Legislative powers, executive powers, he is making appointments of all the executives. Whereas in legislative powers, his involvement in lawmaking, his involvement in the legislature, that is parliament. He arranges the meetings of the parliaments. He nominates 12 members to the Rajya Sabha. Okay. And until he signs on the bills passed by the parliament, those bills will not become law. And he has the power to issue ordinance when parliament is not in session. So these are his legislative powers. Next is financial powers. Yesterday we have discussed the financial powers of the governor. Similar to it are the powers of the financial powers of the president. So he gives permission to the government to introduce money bills in the legislature. So before introducing the budget or money bill in the parliament, the president's permission is mandatory. Without his permission, the money bill cannot be introduced in the parliament. Okay, the budget cannot be introduced in the parliament. Then he operates contingency funds of India. Governor, he operates contingency funds of the state, that particular state. But president, he operates contingency funds. I told you yesterday, contingency funds are the funds kept to meet, unexpected expenditure during natural calamities. Okay. So I told you, he also appoints the chairman and members of the Finance Commission. He also appoints the chairman and members of the Finance Commission. So this is his financial power. Next is judicial powers. Under judicial powers, the president, he appoints the Chief Justice and the judges of Supreme Court and High Court. Okay. Then he has power to cancel or reduce the punishments. Okay. He has a power to cancel the punishment given by the Supreme Court or High Court. Okay. Or he can also reduce the punishment of a convict. Okay. If a convict, if he appeals to the president for mercy, then president, either he can cancel the punishment or he can reduce the punishment. For example, if a person is, awarded with, capital punishment, that is, he has to be hanged till death. So in such situation, the convict can, appeal to the president for mercy. Then the president can reduce his punishment of, his capital punishment into, a life imprisonment. So he has power to cancel or reduce the punishment. And if requires on legal matters of national importance, the president can seek advice, can take advice from the Supreme Court. Okay. The president can take or seek advice from the Supreme Court on the matters of national importance. Now, when president is seeking advice or taking advice from the Supreme Court, it is compulsory on the part of Supreme Court to give advice, to advise the president. Following that advice is president's choice. It is not compulsion that president should follow that advice, but it is compulsion on the part of Supreme Court. When the president is seeking advice, Supreme Court should give the advice. Following that advice or not, it is president's take, okay, president's wish. Next is, so if you see this first four powers, that is legislative powers, executive powers, financial powers, and judiciary powers. These four powers are similar to that of powers of governor. Even governor, he has the power to cancel or reduce the punishments. Okay, like that, you can relate both the answers. So here governor appoints State Finance Commission. He operates contingency funds of the state. Governor, he plays an important role in appointment of judges of High Court. Okay, like that, you can relate both the answers. Now, coming to the next is military powers. Governor does not have this power, military power. Okay, president is the supreme commander of all the three armed forces. That is Army, Navy, and Air Force. President is the supreme commander of the armed forces. President can declare war or he can conclude peace. He can stop the war also. He can declare war or he can make peace. He can conclude the war. And it is the president who represents India at international level. Okay, at international levels, It is the president. All the treaties, agreements at international level are made in the name of president, So coming to the next, that is diplomatic powers. Okay. The president appoints the ambassadors, diplomats. Ambassadors or diplomats to the other nations. He appoints the diplomats and he also receives the diplomats of other nations. All the agreements, treaties with other countries are made in the name of president. The agreement is done between the diplomats, but it is in the name of president. Okay, that is why we say he is the nominal executive. I hope I'm clear with this powers, ordinary powers of the president. Let us move to the emergency powers of the president. Now, president, he enjoys 3 types of emergency powers. He enjoys 3 types of emergency powers. First is national emergency. Second is constitutional emergency. That is, we also call it as president's rule. President's rule. And the third is financial emergency. Okay, so president has the power to declare the 3 types of emergency: national emergency, constitutional emergency, or financial emergency. You can expect a question in 2 marks: national emergency or constitutional emergency. Okay, you can expect. So let us discuss the emergency powers of the president. To start with, national emergency. Article 352 of Indian Constitution. Article 352 of Indian Constitution gives powers to the president to declare national emergency. So when can he declare national emergency? In the event of war. Okay, when there is a war between India and some other country, the president can declare national emergency. Or external aggression. If there is an attack from outside the country, then the president can declare can declare national emergency. If there is armed rebellion means revolt. The people of the country, if they are revolting against the government, okay, if it is armed rebellion, revolt by the people of the country, in that situation also, the president can declare national emergency. Okay, so Article 352 of the Indian Constitution empowers the president to declare national emergency on account of war, external aggression, or armed rebellion. So this type of emergency has been declared in our country for 4 times till now. Okay, Indo-China wars and India-Pakistan wars, and once there was an attack on Indian Parliament. So this national emergency was declared. Okay, the next is constitutional emergency. It is also known as president's rule. Constitutional emergency is also known as president's rule. This is discussed in Article 356. Article 356 of the Indian Constitution empowers the president to declare president's rule or constitutional emergency in any state if he receives a report from the governor that there is constitutional breakdown in the state. That means the government of the state is unable to function according to the constitution. Okay, if there is constitutional breakdown in any state, the governor of that state should give a written report to the president. Then the president can declare president's rule or constitutional emergency. So once the president rule is declared or constitutional emergency is declared, the powers of the state government are transferred to the central government. So this type of emergency has been imposed in different states for more than 100 times, many a times, more than 100 times. Even during Telangana agitation in our state, before the separation of Telangana, when it was united Andhra, when there was, this Telangana agitation going on, that time also, constitutional emergency was declared. I hope I am clear with constitutional emergency. Let us now move to financial emergency. This is Article 360. Article 360 of Indian Constitution empowers the President to declare financial emergency if there is threat to the financial stability of our country. Okay, if we have too many loans from the if we have taken too many loans from the international organization or from other countries, and we are in a position not to repay them, then the president can declare financial emergency. So once the financial emergency is declared, the salaries of all the government employees will get reduced. Okay, and till now, this type of emergency has not been imposed. Our country has not faced this situation. Okay, we did not face the financial emergency. I hope I'm clear with the emergency powers of the president. We have discussed powers of president. Under powers of president, we have discussed ordinary powers. Under ordinary powers, we discussed legislative powers, financial powers, judiciary powers, executive powers, military powers, diplomatic powers. Then we also discussed the second type of powers, that is emergency powers of president. In that we have discussed national emergency, constitutional emergency, and financial emergency. See, sometimes it happens that they may not ask you powers of president in 10 marks, but in 5 marks, they may ask you emergency powers of president. Okay. If it is asked for 5 marks, for example, in 10 marks, they did not ask you president's power, but in 5 marks, they are asking you emergency powers of president. Then you need to write all the 3 emergency powers of the president. If the question is asked for 10 marks, then you need to write ordinary powers as well as emergency powers. Sometimes in 5 marks, they may ask you the powers of president. They are not specifying emergency powers or ordinary powers. In such condition, you can write both ordinary or emergency, or you can write only ordinary powers. Okay, so if you are learning the emergency, if you are learning the powers of president, you will be able to answer emergency powers of president for 5 marks. Let us now move to the next topic, that is Prime Minister of India. Okay, Prime Minister of India. I told you in India we follow parliamentary system of government where we have 2 executives, real executive and nominal executive. Nominal executive, he is the constitutional head of the state, whereas real executive, he is the head of the government. So he is the Prime Minister, he is the head of the union government. So all the important decisions of the government are taken by the Prime Minister. Okay, all the important decisions of the government are taken by the Prime Minister. And the present Prime Minister of our country is Mr. Narendra Modi. So how is the Prime Minister appointed? The majority party in the Lok Sabha, the party which secures majority seats in the Lok Sabha, the leader of that party will be appointed as Prime Minister by the President. So President, he appoints the leader of majority party in Lok Sabha as the Prime Minister. And all the ministers are selected by the Prime Minister. After getting appointed, he will select his team. He will select his ministers, and all these ministers are also appointed by the President. Okay. So according to the Constitution, ministers continue in the office during the pleasure of the President. As per the Constitution, the ministers, the team of Prime Ministers, they'll continue in the office till they can, please the President, as per the pressure of President. But if you see in reality, they'll continue in the office during the pleasure of the Prime Minister. So Prime Minister can advise the President to remove any minister. Okay, on the advice of Prime Minister, the President appoints the ministers, and President can also remove the ministers on the advice of the Prime Minister. So let us now discuss the powers and functions of the Prime Minister. So Prime Minister, he is the leader of the Union Cabinet. So this answer is similar to the question which we have discussed yesterday, Chief Minister. Yesterday we have discussed the Chief Minister is the leader of the Cabinet. He will select his ministers, right? Similarly here, the Prime Minister, he selects his minister, he allots them the departments or portfolios, and he can change their departments anytime. If any minister, if he is unable to manage a particular department, then the Prime Minister can change his department, or he can, remove him. He can advise the President to remove that minister. He presides over the cabinet meetings. It is the Prime Minister who will conduct the meetings of the cabinet. It is the Prime Minister who decides the agendas of the meetings. Okay. I hope I am clear with the first point. The next is Prime Minister is the leader of majority party. Okay, so Prime Minister, we all know the party which secures majority in Lok Sabha. The party which secures majority, that means the party which secures majority seats in the Lok Sabha, the leader of that party is appointed as the Prime Minister. So after getting appointed as the Prime Minister, it is the responsibility of the Prime Minister to implement the promises made by the party during elections. Okay. It is the responsibility of the Prime Minister to take steps to fulfill the promises made by the party during elections. He is the link between the party and the government. Okay, he is the link between the party and the government. No doubt his party got majority, but not all the leaders who got elected become the part of government. Only few leaders, they are elected or they are appointed as his ministers. So not all the leaders of the party, they become the part of government. Only few leaders, they are appointed as the ministers. So the Prime Minister, he is the link between the party and the government. Next, Prime Minister, he is the leader of the parliament. As his party got majority in the parliament, he automatically becomes the leader of the parliament. Whatever decisions are taken in the cabinet meetings, he presides over the cabinet meetings, right? So whatever decisions are taken in the cabinet meetings, he will inform those decisions to the parliament. He informs all those decisions to the parliament. And the cabinet ministers, along with the prime minister, they make all the policies, foreign and domestic policies for the welfare of the country, for the development of the country. So whatever policies are made by the government, he informs about those policies to the prime minister, to the parliament. Prime minister, as the leader of the parliament, informs about all the policies, all the decisions and all the policies made by the government. I hope I'm clear with this, right? What are the powers of the prime minister? He is the leader of the cabinet. He is the leader of the majority party. He is the leader of the parliament. Am I clear with this? It is very simple, boys. Sorry, it is very simple, students. If you are learning prime minister, you will be able to answer chief minister answer. Like, for example, prime minister, he selects his minister. Similarly, at the state level, it is the chief minister who selects his ministers. Then prime minister is the majority, leader of majority party in the parliament. Chief minister is the leader of the majority party in the assembly. Okay. So like this, you can make small changes and learn these answers. Next, prime minister, he is the link between the president and council of ministers. He is the link between the president and council of ministers. So whatever decisions are taken in the cabinet meetings, it is the responsibility of the prime minister to inform the president about those decisions. And at the same time, it is a responsibility of the prime minister to give the information about the decisions of the president to the council of ministers. So here he is the link between the president and the council of ministers. Okay, prime minister, whatever decisions are taken by the council of ministers, he will inform it to the president. Okay, and whatever suggestions or information, whatever it is conveyed, has to be conveyed to the council of ministers by the president. It is the prime minister who informs it. So he is the link between the president and council of ministers. Okay, then prime minister, he is the leader of the union government. Okay, he is the leader of the union government. See, when we say government, it is not only prime minister. It is prime minister and his ministers. That is council of ministers, his team of ministers, and the central government employees. All together, they are called as union executives. Okay, so he is the leader of the ministers. Okay, so whatever plans, programs, and policies are made, it is made under his leadership. It is made under his leadership, and it is his responsibility to see that all the plans and policies or programs are implemented properly. So who implement this? The government employees, the ministers and prime minister, they make the policies and programs, and the government employees will implement those policies and programs. So it is that is why we say he is the leader of the union government. Prime minister is the leader of the union government. Next is prime minister. He is the leader of the nation. Okay, so when people, they vote for a particular party, they entrust the power in the hands of the leader of that party. So prime minister, he is the leader of the nation. The people of the country, they trusted that particular political party. So automatically, he is the leader of the nation. The people of the nation, they have selected that particular party, and the leader of that party is the prime minister. So automatically, he becomes the leader of the nation. So whatever statements are given inside and outside the parliament are treated as the decisions of the government. Whatever decisions are taken by the government, that is expressed by the prime minister through his statements inside and outside the parliament. Okay, whatever statements he gives inside or outside the parliament, it has got weightage because it is considered as the decision of the government. Okay, he is representing the nation in other countries. He is the face of our country. Okay, yesterday I told you chief minister is the face of the state, whereas prime minister is the face of the nation. Okay, so whatever, in short, we can say that the opinion of the prime minister, it is treated as the opinion of the nation. The opinion of the prime minister is the opinion of the nation. Okay, so these are the powers and functions of the prime minister. I hope I'm very clear with this. These two questions, prime minister and president, they are very simple. They are very easy. If you are able to learn prime minister and president, it will be easy for you to write chief minister and governor. Chief minister and governor, the powers are similar. They enjoy similar powers. The only difference is the the governor, he does not have military powers and diplomatic powers. Whereas coming to the powers of prime minister and chief minister, they are same. It's only you need to change the words. For example, here we have the prime minister is the link between president and council of ministers. For chief minister answer, you can replace this word prime with chief. The chief minister is the link between, instead of president, it is governor. Governor and council of ministers. So wherever you are learning word prime minister, for chief minister, just change the word to chief minister. And wherever it is president, change it to governor. And wherever it is parliament, change it to state legislature. And wherever there is a word nation, change it to state. Sorry. It is very easy. If you are learning prime minister and president, learn these two answers. You will be able to learn 2 SAQs of next chapter. Okay, that is 4th chapter. Yesterday we have discussed chief minister and governor. So, see, try to learn less, but whatever you are learning, learn perfectly. Okay, this will help you in scoring more marks. So if you will be wasting time learning president, then prime minister, then again you are wasting time on learning governor and chief minister. Learn president, find the difference between these two answers. Learn prime minister, find the difference between these two answers. It will be easy. At the same time, you will be learning 2 answers. When you are learning one answer, along with that, you are learning another answer. And few of the 2 marks questions are also covered in that. Okay. So, adapt some tricks to learn the answer. Don't waste time on mugging the answers, by hearting the answers. Try to understand the answer. If you are able to understand the answer, try to put it in words. Okay. Just by hearting will not help you. Okay. You should understand, then you should try to put it in the words and take care of your spellings. you can easily score marks. It is very easy to get good marks. And again, I repeat, you need not learn complete syllabus. Okay, just know the weightage of each chapter. Learn that particular chapter thoroughly. For example, I told you just now, chapter 1 has got 19 marks weightage. Okay, chapter 2 has got 12 marks weightage. Chapter 9, it has got weightage of 26 marks. Okay, chapter 3 again 19 marks. So here you then chapter 7, it has got weightage of 17 marks. Okay, so if you are learning this 4-5 chapters thoroughly, you will be able to answer maximum paper. Not complete paper, but you will be able to answer maximum paper. Okay, 3 LAQs you will be able to answer. You will be able to answer 4 or 5 SAQs. Okay, around 8 to 10 BSAQs. So you can score passing marks. You can get through the exam. Now to score maximum marks, the maximum you can score is 99 in civics. So for that, you should learn all the chapters. Okay. I hope I am clear with these 2 topics today, Prime Minister and President. In next class, we will discuss Parliament, and then we will discuss very short answers and short answers from this chapter. I conclude my session here. See you all tomorrow. Thank you.